caused by an oil spill that started in Freeport and continues to make its way to Pittsburgh. The situation tonight has worsened for many residents in Armstrong and Westmoreland counties. The residents of Shaler Township, Allegheny County, are under strict mandatory conservation since their water system was shut off tonight. Water buffaloes will be available by morning in Shaler, but the water presently in the system is safe to drink. Good evening. The water crisis changes hourly. Ron Klink joins us from the emergency shelter in the Strip District with the latest. Ron?
Well, Patrice, I don't know if you can see the activity behind us, but they are preparing here in the city of Pittsburgh for a water emergency as this ever slowly moving big slick of oil, about 30 miles long at last measurement, continues to move down the Allegheny River toward the city of Pittsburgh. Of course, it's being felt upstream in each community that it passes by. The latest word that we have is that it has just entered the Fox Chapel area. Fox Chapel has just shut down their water intakes, and so that is the last area that has begun to already be affected. Now, as the communities upriver from that, from Freeport on down to Fox Chapel, have been wrestling with the problems of water, their water problems caused by this oil slick, we've sent Dave Clark into that area tonight. Dave joins us right now. What did you see, David, as you were moving around that upper Allegheny area today and as these communities began to be affected by what is an ever-growing crisis?
Well, Ron, I can tell you, I spent several hours moving upstream. It is a major inconvenience, and I wanted to get a first-hand look to see just how people are dealing with the situation. I can tell you they are dealing with the situation, but it's not easy at all. It promises to be a very long night and an equally long day tomorrow.
Of the New Chem Water Authority and the City of Lower Borough. All Lower Borough residents are to conserve water.
Ambulances and fire trucks spread out all over Lower Borough Township tonight, sounding the alarm to save water. Meanwhile, in the Tarentum area, firemen are busy using pumper trucks to provide water for Tarentum, Fawn Township, and Brackenridge.
All we're doing is we're just relaying the water that's not considered contaminated out of Bull Creek, and we're relay pumping through 3 engines into the local water plants to service 3 communities right now.
The water buffaloes are also set up here in Tarentum. There's a huge water tanker outside Allegheny Valley Hospital in Natrona. 6,200 gallons of water was brought in just in case, but supervisors on duty tonight told me the situation is calm now and the water supply is stable. And at this Eden Park restaurant in Natrona Heights, no water means bring out the paper plates.
We're using all styrofoam dishes and cups, plastic silverware, and it's limited some of our service that items we can't prepare. We're using bottled soft drinks, coffee by hand, bottled water, all that type of thing.
Ms. Blackburn says some of the customers have complained, but others are just rolling with the punches. One other quick point about Shaler. They're asking everyone to cooperate. They want laundromats and car washes to close as well. They're just adjusting to the situation as much as possible. And, Ron, we have new information from the city of Pittsburgh officials now.
Okay, thank you very much, David. And if we can get David to step out, and coming in with us now, Glenn Cannon, the Public Safety Director for the city of Pittsburgh. And, Glenn, we've been hearing all kind of things as the city of Pittsburgh braces. What is the latest? We understood that the last we knew that Fox Chapel had just shut down their intakes. Is that correct according to your information? And how far away are you from the inevitable?
Fox Chapel has quit taking water in from the river, and right now Mayor Masloff is asking that we in the city of Pittsburgh begin to conserve water, that we are starting our conservation efforts right now and letting the public know that although our plant is still operating, we are the next plant down from Fox Chapel, and we expect that during the night we're going to have to shut down. So we want to let everyone know now that it's time to begin conserving water within the city. Businesses, schools, hospitals that have plans for conservation need to put them into place. And people should watch how they shower. They should watch water use in their home. Things like dishwashers and laundry need to be done when only absolutely necessary.
Now, do you have any idea at this point? I know we were expecting this oil to begin to arrive at 1 o'clock this morning. The best explanation we had is that the Allegheny River was more like a lake. The water was just laying there, was moving very slowly. Do you have any idea at this point how long now?
Eastern suburbs are being asked to conserve water. Good evening. A 30-mile fuel slick is moving down the Allegheny, a slick that began late Friday near Freeport. It happened when a landslide broke a 10-inch fuel pipeline. Some 75,000 gallons of a mixture of gasoline, diesel fuel, and kerosene spilled into Knapp Run Creek, a tributary of the Allegheny. It's forced water companies to shut down their intake valves. Now a look at developments from the scene of the spill. Late today, Governor Robert Haase visited and declared a state of emergency. Game officials surveyed the river and reported the first signs of environmental damage. And as Ken Rice reports, now there's controversy over how the spill happened and how promptly it was reported.
The cleanup is continuing 24 hours a day. Contractors hired by Buckeye Pipeline Co. and supervised by the Coast Guard have containment booms in place and are using truckloads of absorbent pads to soak up the slick. From its source just north of Freeport, the oil's been seeping slowly south toward Pittsburgh and the Ohio River.
See, you can see along there, right along the shore there.
This afternoon, Governor Haase came to see for himself the extent of the spill. His emergency declaration will make $1 million in aid money available. But some fear damage that money can't repair.
It is so polluted, it's pathetic. Really? Oh, it's just heavy. You can see it. You can just see pools of it, and it looks like it's sinking.
Pesci and state game officers took to the river for a close-up look at the spill. They found dead fish and oil-coated ducks and said more evidence of damage may appear later.
It takes time. You know, this is only the first day after the spill.
Also on scene today, Lieutenant Governor Mark Singal, who heads the state emergency management operations. He said he's concerned about how long it took for the state to learn of the pipeline break.
There was between a 6 and 7 hour delay between the pressure drop and a notification.
And there's some speculation among officials that the landslide that reportedly caused the oil pipeline to crack may have been caused by earth-moving work going on in the area.
It's possible, but there's no known fact at this time on that.
Officials say the possibility of negligence will be investigated.
So, Governor, we're confident we can get through this with the kind of cooperation we've been getting.
While oil and water may not mix, oil spills and politicians do. Besides the governor and his lieutenant, there were state reps and senators, mayors, and county commissioners here today. It is, after all, an election year. In Freeport, Ken Rice, WTAE 4 News.
Tonight, several industrial plants on the Allegheny have shut down, including Allegheny Ludlam's operations in Natrona and Brackenridge and PPG's facility in Creighton. Also, river traffic tonight in the area of the spill has been halted. Now, we asked Buckeye Pipeline Company about the alleged delay in reporting the spill. So far, the company's had no response. And at this hour, the slick is making its way to Pittsburgh. City and county officials spent the day trying to figure out what effect that's going to have on residents. Pittsburgh Public Safety Director Glenn Cannon is at 911 headquarters where city officials are holding a meeting, and he joins us now live with an update. Mr. Cannon, Pittsburgh officials earlier called off their request for water conservation in the city. What's the latest word? Are you reinstating that request tonight?
Yes, right now Mayor Masloff is asking all Pittsburghers to begin conserving water. Although our plant is still pumping, we expect that during this evening we're going to have to shut down. And so the mayor is asking that we begin right now, and we're going to have to continue that conservation over the next few days until we find an end to this thing and can figure out when it will pass by our water treatment facility.
Mr. Cannon, several communities are rationing their water. Can you give them any idea how long they will have to continue to do so?
No, not at all. The problem is there's no end to this thing yet. We have a person on scene, and it's still leaching from the ground, and as a result, it's very difficult to predict when it may end. So the mayor is asking that in your personal hygiene, your cooking, your laundry, your showers, that people begin to conserve, and we will continually monitor and update the situation as it goes along.
What is the situation right now? Has the spill traveled? Has it reached to Pittsburgh yet? And also, did tonight's rain hamper the cleanup efforts at all?
Well, we are still pumping from our plant, and we're going to continue to do that until we experience the slick at our intake. And that's allowing us to continue to maintain our system at maximum capacity. The problem is, though, if we shut down without conservation efforts, it will shorten the amount of time that we'll have water available here to the citizens.
All right, Mr. Cannon, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Well, the water crisis has also halted business in a number of area establishments. A fast food restaurant was just one of many asked to close down to help conserve the water supplies. Most of the communities along the Allegheny River from Freeport to Pittsburgh tonight are under a conserve water order. The mayor of Oakmont has declared a state of emergency. Now, the water situation has led to some school closings. Here's a list of the ones we know so far. Closed tomorrow are all schools in the Shaler School District, the All Saints School in Allegheny County, Blessed Sacrament in Natrona Heights, in Millvale, Holy Spirit Regional Catholic Elementary, Anthony School for Exceptional Children, and Riverview School District in Oakmont. Again, all these schools will not be open tomorrow. We'll have the latest update on school closings tomorrow morning on WTAE 4 News at 6 and 6:30. Water buffaloes have been placed in a number of sites. Here's a list of where you can find some of them. In Harrison Township, you can find water buffaloes at the Harrison Hill Fire Hall, Citizen Hose Company, the Hilltop Hose Company, and Natrona Fire Company. In Fawn Township, you can find water buffaloes at the Township Fire Hall, the Fawn-Fraser Joint Water Authority office. In Buffalo Township, at the Buffalo Township Municipal Building. In Fraser Township, water buffalo is set up at the Fraser Township Fire Hall. And in Upper Burrell, you can find water buffalo at the Upper Burrell Municipal Building. And 2 hotline numbers have been set up for any handicapped or elderly persons who may need assistance obtaining water during this emergency. The phone lines will be manned 24 hours a day, so if you need help, you can call 412-392-8518 or 392-8519. Well, there was actually plenty of water to go around the area tonight. Lots of water in the form of rain. Big storm tonight.
Somewhere near you. Can you get to him? Over. Savoy 8.
Honored as the best newscast in Pennsylvania, this is WTAE 4 News.
Good evening, everybody. The water emergency appears to be easing somewhat tonight. Some 500,000 people served by the city water system apparently have been spared, and the havoc for thousands of others all across the area may be coming to an end soon. Even so, a number of schools are still closed, and in many areas, residents are still under a mandatory conservation order tonight. We'll have more on that in just a moment, but first, the latest on the spill itself. At last report, the leading edge of the spill was located at the Westview Water Treatment Plant. That's on the Ohio River, and it's expected to move through Robinson Township within the next hour. The bulk of the spill is sitting at the point at this hour. A news briefing has just ended a short time ago in Freeport, the site of where the oil first spilled this past weekend and polluted the Allegheny River back on Saturday morning. The Department of Environmental Resources appears to be a bit more optimistic about the spill tonight. The state DER is awaiting for additional test results from the river at this hour. And although the final word is not in, they expect good news by the end of the night. In the meantime, the cleanup is now moving from the river itself to the exact site of the spill.
We do have some good indications. Earlier samples taken about 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock this morning show approximately 30 parts per billion here in Freeport. Now that means that the spill is moving downriver, and we may be beginning to see the end of the slug going downriver.
The situation up there right now is very unsafe, and as long as our containment's in place, and we're keeping the stuff out of the river, our priority switches over, obviously, to the safety of the people that are working there. And as soon as we have a better evaluation of the situation from some of the engineers and the technical people from Buckeye as to what can be done up there, we'll more or less be, working in the areas of the underflow dams until we can come up with a long-range plan to address the remedial problem.
Now, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency is looking into the long-range cleanup problem, now that it appears at last that the water problem itself may soon be in hand. Now, as we've mentioned a moment ago, the city of Pittsburgh's water supply has apparently been spared tonight. The spill moved past the city's water treatment plant in Aspinwall earlier this evening, but came down on the opposite side of the river. Alan Jennings joins us live now from the city's 911 Emergency Center with the latest on the city water situation. Alan?
Don, apparently we've got some good news tonight. Apparently there has been a breakthrough. We might be out of the woods. And with me live is Al Shuley, Director of Engineering of the city of Pittsburgh. Al, can you give us a quick update on the situation?
Well, the situation basically, Alan, it is improving. The city at this point is cautiously optimistic. We're not ready to say that the crisis is over by any stretch of the imagination, because right now the tail end of this spill has been identified, so that's encouraging for us. And we have never shut down our plant. We have been operating. The mayor would like to express to the citizens that conservation is working very well, that's helping our effort, and things are moving along very well.
Al, I understand earlier that the oil spill had moved on the other side of the river past the water intakes. Is that true? And if so, is that a good sign for us?
Well, it was past our intakes. It was hugging actually the south bank of the Allegheny. For the city of Pittsburgh, that's good news. To some of the other water purveyors, it's not such good news. But we are treating it as we speak now. I suspect the river is going to get worse for us over the next couple of days, but at least we can see the end.
Okay, Al, what about for tomorrow morning? What can we expect tomorrow morning here in the city of Pittsburgh? Will we have water, and will things be going as they are now, or what kind of a change can we expect?
No, it's business as usual. Of course, since the plant has never shut down, and we have a very large supply of water. Even if the plant were to shut down, we have 3 to 5 days of reserves, so there should be no change. It's still voluntary conservation measures.
Very good. Thanks, Al Shuley, Director of Engineering, City of Pittsburgh. Don, there you have the latest, and we'll have more at the end of the newscast. Reporting live at 911 in the Strip District, Alan Jennings. Don?
Okay, thank you, Alan. The emergency has eased for some communities tonight. The Wilkinsburg-Penn Joint Water Authority is taking water now from the river again, even though its water conservation order remains in effect. And the Shaler Water Authority has lifted its conservation order and is drawing its water from supply wells fed by the Allegheny River. Harrison Township has started pumping water from the river once again tonight, and Buffalo Township has water again as well. They were dry earlier, as you may recall. A number of other areas still have water tonight, but they're under a mandatory conservation order. They include the following towns: Braddock Borough, Braddock Hills, Brackenridge, Chalfont, Churchill, East McKeesport, East Pittsburgh, Edgewood, Fawn Fraser Townships, Forest Hills, Harmer, Lower Borough, Monroeville, Murraysville, North Braddock, Penn Hills, Plum, Pitcairn, Rankin, Swissvale, Trafford, Turtle Creek, Wall, West Deer, Wilkinsburg, Wilkins, Wilmerding, Arnold, and New Kensington. Water buffaloes and other temporary water supplies have been set up in those communities tonight. And if your community is without its regular water supply tonight, you can find the location of the water buffaloes by calling your local police or fire department. In the meantime, bottled water is running at a premium tonight, with consumers buying more water than most stores can supply so far. Consumers found more empty shelves today than bottled water on those shelves. Nevertheless, more water is en route tonight. Bottled water companies have been working around the clock to keep up with the tenfold demand, and prices should remain the same when new supplies hit store shelves. Now, senior citizens and the handicapped who need special assistance getting the water during this crisis can call two special hotline numbers. They are 412-392-8518 and 392-8519. And the phones are manned 24 hours a day. The oil spill has forced the closing a number of schools throughout the Pittsburgh area. While water conservation measures are in effect, here is a list of schools that are tentatively closed for tomorrow. Blessed Sacrament School in Natrona Heights, Burrell Schools, Deer Lake School District except for the A.W. Beatty School, the Highland School District, Holy Spirit Catholic Elementary School, Lower Burrell Wesleyan Academy, Northwestmoreland County of Vo-Tech, New Kensington Christian Academy, New Kensington Arnold Schools, the Penn Hill School District, the Penn State New Kensington Campus, the Pittsburgh East Christian School, Riverview School District, St. Aloysius in Reserve Township, St. Anthony's School for Exceptional Children, St. John the Baptist, St. Margaret Mary in Lower Burrell, and St. Mary's in New Kensington. Now, the Pittsburgh Public Schools will be open tomorrow, and the Shaler area and Plum schools will be open as well tomorrow. We'll, of course, have an updated list of all the school closings tomorrow morning with Adam Lynch on WTAE 4 News at 6 o'clock in the morning. And coming up, the mayor vetoes council by district office plan. Ryan White is hospitalized.
Which was inching along the Allegheny, picked up speed tonight, and the leading edge of it has been spotted near Bellevue on the Ohio River. Now, that's just a few miles down from the point.
Now, emergency officials tell us when the body of the slick passed by the city of Pittsburgh's water intake, it stayed on the opposite side of the river. So the city has not had to shut down those intakes. They are pumping at their normal capacity, and water treatment will apparently take care of all that oil in the water. But one of the areas hardest hit by the oil spill is Harrison Township. The water tanks have been virtually bone dry there since yesterday morning, so the residents have been relying on bottled water and water buffaloes. But the pumps started up again around 10 this evening. While the pumps are on again, the distribution of water throughout the system will not begin until tomorrow when the tanks are replenished. Harrison received test results back a couple of hours ago advising them it was okay to start drawing the water again. But despite those negative test results, township officials are still urging people to boil the water from 3 to 5 minutes until further notice.
As we mentioned, the slow-moving slick has finally hit the city of Pittsburgh. Ralph Iannotti is at the city's emergency response center in the Strip District with more. Ralph?
That's right, Stacy. I'm at the 911 center right now, and the slick tonight apparently picked up some momentum. It is moving now, has at least the leading edge has gone into the Ohio River, and some of that slick is currently sitting over the intake valves in the city of Pittsburgh. With me is Alex Shuley, the director of the City Department of Engineering. Alex, the crisis isn't over, but I get the feeling that obviously things could be a lot worse at this point.
Well, at this point, Ralph, we're cautiously optimistic because the predominant tail of the spill has been identified. That gives us a little lead time of how long we may have to go in it. But we're certainly not out of the woods now. We're going to have to be very careful. There'll be some intense monitoring going on now.
What about as far as advisories are concerned for voluntary conservation? Is that still in effect?
The advisory is still in effect. In fact, the mayor would like to express to the citizens of Pittsburgh her thanks. The citizens have conserved. We've noticed over the last 24 hours that people have conserved water, and we appreciate that.
I think there's a sense out there on some people's part that there was a sense of crying wolf, but that's not true, is it not? It could have been a heck of a lot worse, but it wasn't.
It still could be. You know, the way this spill is going, it stagnates and holds up in certain areas. If it holds up near our intake, we could be in for a long, intense monitoring of the situation.
How much longer is this situation going to continue? Any idea?
Well, the news that Harrison Township now is underway. Technically speaking, if the spill moves at the rate that it has, it would be biased in 2 to 3 days. And we certainly have the reserves at this point. If we were to shut down, of course, we've never shut down during this whole thing, we would have the reserves to get by it.
So the word tonight is cautious optimism?
Yeah, I would say that. That's the best news that we could give at this point.
Cautious optimism and continue to use restraint in using that tap water.
Yes, the citizens have been very good.
Thank you very much. Alex Shuley, he is the director of the Department of Engineering for the city of Pittsburgh. And again, the good news tonight, the water slick is passing over the city's intake valves, but there's no problem. The water treatment plant is continuing to operate, and the leading edge of the slick is gone on into the Ohio River. Stacy and Ray?
All right, thank you, Ralph. Now, as you just heard, even though the situation is improving, mandatory and voluntary water conservation orders are still in effect in several communities.
As a matter of fact, if you live in Fawn, Fraser, you are under a mandatory do not use order. Do not use your water for any reason. Mandatory conservation orders are also in effect in Brackenridge, Harrison, Harmer Township, Indiana Township, New Kensington, Lower Burrell, Oakmont, Plum Borough, Verona, West Deer Township, and the Wilkinsburg Penn Water Authority. Again, those are mandatory conservation orders. It means you could be fined for not conserving water. Now, if you receive your water from one of the following water distribution systems, you are asked to voluntarily conserve water. In Aleppo, Braddock, and Blonox. Also, people in East Deer, East Pittsburgh, Etna, and Findlay are being asked to conserve. Fox Chapel, Freeport, and Hampton should conserve. So should the residents in Millvale, Monroeville, Neville, North Fayette, and O'Hara. Pittsburgh is under voluntary conservation, as is Rankin, Reserve, Richland, Robinson, Shaler, Tarentum, and Wall. Voluntary conservation means it is requested you use as little water as possible. Now, many schools will be closed tomorrow because of the oil spill. St. Anthony's School for Exceptional Children in Oakmont, Oakbridge Academy of Arts, Brighton Early Daycare Center in Oakmont, the Alley-Kiski branch of the Westmoreland County Community College, the New Kensington Adult Vocational Center, New Kensington Commercial School, New Kensington Arnold Schools, New Kensington Christian Academy, and New Kensington Career Training Academy, the Burrell School District, Highland School District, Riverview, the Riverview Children's Center, and Deer Lake Schools, and North Westmoreland, Votech, Blessed Sacrament in Natrona Heights, St. Paul's Preschool in New Kensington, St. Joseph's in New Kensington, and Transfiguration in Russellton. St. Joseph's in Natrona Heights, St. Irenaeus of Oakmont, St. Bartholomew, Mount St. Peter of New Kensington, and Wesleyan Academy of Lower Borough. The Penn Hills School District, Penn State University New Kensington campus, Fox Chapel area schools, St. Mary's of New Kensington, and Holiday Farms of Murraysville will all be closed. Now, in a moment, we will give you information on where you can get water from those water buffaloes, so have a pen and paper handy. Now, there is a serious question tonight about the response of Buckeye Petroleum and whether the company promptly notified federal and state agencies about that spill. Even though the company has accepted the responsibility for claims relating to the spill, various government agencies, from federal to state to local, are demanding some answers. Ron Klink has the details.
An official EPA report says the pressure drop in the Buckeye line was noticed at 11:38 on Friday night. But not until 5:51 the following morning was EPA notified. By 6:11, a regional duty officer was notified. 2 minutes later, he was unable to confirm the spill with Buckeye. At 6:14, he contacted DER.
Obviously, if the break took place somewhere around 11:30 on Friday night, there was plenty of time to get a hold of us before 6 o'clock or even 9 o'clock when we knew where the problem was at.
The city of Freeport was not even aware that there had been a spill until 7:59 on Saturday morning. And that was only after one of their firemen was alerted to the smell of oil and gasoline around the river. He came down here, and there was already a cleanup crew in place on the river that was beginning the mop-up activity.
Buckeye evidently hadn't notified the local officials there. They may have notified other agencies, but locally, no one was notified in Freeport or Armstrong County.
We were never notified, and whenever we came down and viewed the area, we were terribly upset, and the immediate thing that we did was notify those water facilities downriver from us who also had no notification.
It's my understanding that hours did pass, and the reason, the major reason that I explained was that there were 40 miles of pipeline to be investigated.
The question then is, why were cleanup crews in position on the river 2 hours before any government agencies were notified?
Because the reduction of line pressure that was noticed by instrument has a significant probability of indicating a line break, we thought it was prudent at the earliest time to call McCutcheon advising of a possible spill.
Wilson also says that his company's reviewing logs of the incident to see if any mistakes were made in reporting or handling the oil spill. Ron Klink, KDKA-TV Eyewitness News Update.
The State Department of Environmental Resources is investigating the possibility that the pipeline might have been leaking and that leak may have triggered the landslide that caused the oil spill.
Now that several communities are being told to conserve water, you may need to know exactly what that may mean. So here are a few tips on how to conserve water. Do not wash your car or run your dishwasher. Take short showers, a sponge bath if possible, and flush the toilet as little as possible. Do not do laundry unless absolutely necessary, and keep water use in the kitchen to a minimum. Here now is the complete list of water buffalo locations. If you need water, this is where you can get it. Now, if you need assistance in getting to one of the water buffalo locations, Allegheny County has set up a hotline number. You can call 392-8518 or 392-8519. Also, the city of Freeport needs the help of ham radio operators who have 2-meter equipment. They need 9 amateur radio operators to volunteer their help to coordinate water distribution tomorrow morning. If you can help, you're asked to call the command center. That phone number is 295-4897. We will keep you updated on the spill and the impact as new information comes in. And to help do that, as a matter of fact, for an overview of the spill and the path and the progress, and the latest on Allegheny County's cleanup efforts, here is Superintendent of County Police, Robert Kroner. He joins us now from the county's Emergency Management Headquarters. Superintendent, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We've already heard that part of the spill has now reached the Ohio River. What about those communities upriver from the city of Pittsburgh?
The community upriver that was hit the hardest was Harris. Was doing the testing so that they would speed up the laboratory tests. Before we left there, they called back and said that give the test results. The test results were favorable, and Harrison Township was given permission to start pumping. We're going to continue to have Director Moses haul water in there by tanker to help with their pumping so that they can build up a reserve.
So you're saying that Harrison Township now, they can start using, I mean, they're starting to pump the water from the Allegheny, but they need to build up the reserves before people can start using the water.
That's right. Conservation is still a necessity, and the cooperation of the citizens is most important while they are building this up.
Bob, what do you hear about Oakmont? We're hearing reports that the taps in Oakmont are dry. Can you fill us in?
Yes, Oakmont is our next most serious problem. Oakmont hasn't been able to pump, and they only had a 24-hour reserve, and they're about depleted. Oakmont will have to conserve. We will give them all the help that we can in the way of water buffaloes and tankers of water while they're going through this period. Hopefully, when their tests come back, they will get a positive reaction and be able to start pumping soon.
Superintendent, we now know that the leading edge, as we said, is in the Ohio. What about the back edge of it? How far downriver is that now? Is it past Oakmont and Harrison?
Up until now, we have not heard of a trailing edge. Around 2 o'clock today, we were told by Joe LaFleur, the director of PEMA, that the slick itself was breaking up on the front edge, and we were getting a break on the back edge, and that the leaching had cut down considerably and was no longer leaching the 20 to 30 gallon a minute that it was before.
All right, Superintendent Kroner, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sad story in the news tonight. AIDS patient Ryan
Plant and the Fox Chapel water plant to start pumping water again. But people there and the city of Pittsburgh and most other communities are still being asked to conserve their water tonight. Also, the Fawn Fraser area is still under a do not use order. There is a mandatory conservation notice out in Freeport. People who live in Buffalo Township also must conserve. Oakmont is under a mandatory conservation order. And people in Harrison Township are under an emergency mandatory conservation order. Now, if you must use the Harrison water, you are advised to boil it first for at least 1 minute. And if you have any questions about the condition of the water in your area, you are asked to call your municipality's offices or your local police or fire department. Now, the Harrison Township Boil Water Advisory is a precaution that is necessary after water lines have been dry. Harold Hayes has the latest on what is happening in the area closest to the spill.
No, the people who've worked night and day because of the fuel spill are not ready to celebrate by drinking beer, not yet. They're loading bottled water donated by Miller Brewery and by Culligan Water so that they and their neighbors can have a drink of water without additional hassle. Because Harrison Township is still getting its water system back online, they have to boil water. So this will help in the crunch for drinking water. I guess it's been a long few days for folks who've been dealing with it.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. So, but everybody's doing a good job, especially all your volunteers.
The controversy, though, over the spill itself is more intense tonight. The state's Deputy Secretary for Environmental Protection says part of his investigation centers on whether a landslide caused the pipeline to break, as the company says it did, or whether an old leak in the pipe caused the landslide.
There have been some allegations made by residents that they had odors of oil for some time prior to the alleged break in the pipe. We are investigating that to determine that if in fact that's the case, that's a much more serious charge on the company, and it also may indicate that there's more oil in that soil than currently anticipated.
We have nothing to hide. In fact that is the case, then that is the case. What I have to say now is indications from our control center indicate that that pipeline was holding steady pressure and then suffered a precipitous loss of pressure. There was no leakage in that pipeline prior to a precipitous loss of pressure.
And to help find out who's right, the State Attorney General's office has joined the investigation. Harold Haase, KDKA Eyewitness News Update.
Also tonight, the State Department of Education says all public schools that closed resulting from the fuel spill will open tomorrow.
Teenager from Belts who...
The Murine Earwax Removal System has drops that safely loosen hardened wax when used as directed, plus an ear washer to gently flush wax away. Murine, the complete medically approved system to safely remove earwax.
I'm dreaming of summer, cool breezes, fresh air. When I want that feeling, summer's eve takes me there. It's clean, fresh feeling, keeps the good times on my mind. Summer's eve brings back freshness anytime.
Guess who's watching Baseball 90?
I'll be watching Baseball 90.
Oh, yeah. Watch it.
Wouldn't miss it for anything.
Baseball 90, a look at the week in baseball, premieres 11:30 next Saturday morning on CNN.
Betty, yeah, you know what's good for me. Angel food cake. No fat, no cholesterol. That's what I call having your cake and eating it, too. No fat, no cholesterol.
You sweet talker, Betty Crocker.
This is a TBS News Watch, brought to you by Chiquita.
Another call for talks or else from Soviet President Gorbachev. A new statement issued today urges Lithuania's leaders to negotiate independence according to the Soviet constitution. Gorbachev warns the republic that it's currently on a dead-end course. Dozens of people are hurt after an anti-tax demonstration turned into a riot today in London. Police on horseback attacked a crowd of thousands after they began pelting the officers with bottles and bricks. Poland is condemning an attack on a Polish diplomat and his wife in Muslim West Beirut yesterday. A previously unknown terrorist group claimed responsibility for the shooting, and the group promises more attacks if Warsaw helps Soviet Jews immigrate to Israel. Idaho Governor Cecil Andrus vetoed a restrictive abortion law because he says it was unfair to rape and incest victims. Right-to-lifers are upset with the governor's decision, but a legal expert says it's just as well. The expert claims the Supreme Court may have overturned the law. Pro-choice supporters are happy with the governor's decision. Past drug use may keep a Bush administration nominee from getting his post. Timothy Ryan has been nominated to become chief savings and loan regulator, but Ryan told the FBI he used marijuana and cocaine in the early 70s. His nomination comes before the Senate next week. For Newswatch, I'm Candace Dean.
During the course of one 60-minute workout, a body can be depleted of vitamins B6 and C, carbohydrates, and valuable potassium, all of which, it so happens, can be replaced by eating one Chiquita banana. So whatever you put out, put back. Chiquita, quite possibly the world's perfect food.
Newswatch is from Headline News. Anytime, all the time.
So there I was having breakfast when this friend came over and asked me why I'm eating Cheerios. Hey, simple choice, I told him, whole grain oats. Well, then right away he started going on about all this nutrition talk and said he was all confused. So I stopped him right there. I said, look, Cheerios is low sugar, whole grain oats with all the oat bran. It's nutrition made simple. Look, you get enough confusion during the day, I told him. You don't need any more over breakfast.
You're right there, I don't need any more.
The problem with most weeds is
They have unusually deep roots. And if you don't pull up the whole root, the weeds will grow right back. So this year, try Scott's Turf Builder plus 2 weed and feed. You'll get a great lawn without weeds or your money back. From Scott's.
Mom, I'm home.
What's the smartest way to feed a house full of active teenagers?
It's Domino's!
Domino's Pizza Double Deals. 2 delicious pizzas, 1 special price.
It's time for Domino's Pizza. Call now.
Now's a great time to call Domino's Pizza because for a limited time, we'll deliver 2 pizzas, each with 1 topping for only $10.95. It's time for Domino's Pizza. Offer may vary.
You know, this celebrity business isn't all it's cracked up to be. Sure, I get to travel all over the country, but I'd rather just hang out and have a Miller Lite with the guys. Had another round of lights. Sure. Me and the boys don't want some watered-down version of a regular beer. We want the less-filling beer that really tastes great. Right, guys?
Right. Joe. Yeah, Dad. Again?
Get the picture? When it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
Come on, hurry up in there.
Really?
A little cheddar makes plain veggies taste better. But take the cheddar cheese away and you can just say,
No way!
'cause cheddar cheese makes all the difference.
Hooray!
On all kinds of vegetables, cheese makes all the difference.
Does food seem dull since you gave up butter? Then try all-natural Butterbud sprinkles. Butter's full of fat, but Butterbud has the flavor of butter with no cholesterol and virtually no fat. Butterbuds, it's better than butter.
Right now, there are some amazing reductions going on at Kmart. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is on sale for $17.88 at Kmart.
We now return to John Wayne in The Green Berets.
Are you sure that's what he said he wanted?
Affirmative. That's what he wanted, and that's what he's gonna get.
Well, maybe he liked the idea of having so many men think about him every day.
Besides, it sings.
It sings? Yeah, that's what he said. It sings.
Provost privy. It does sing.
Last time we three met, Colonel Carr and I were going to tell you about a plan we had. And A Camp 107 got hit. Like this can't wait till you take over. So I want you thoroughly briefed.
Well, why way out here?
This is top secret, Mike. I repeat, top secret.
Colonel Guy. How was I got?
Very interesting. I attended a meeting with the Premier and his staff. The main subject was General Fang Sang Ti.
Oh?
He has assumed command of the entire Viet Cong forces in the south.
Which makes him #1.
Affirmative. And it could mean a major offensive.
I had my hands on him the last time I was out here. But I couldn't get enough evidence to hold him against political pressure. Had to turn him loose.
Would you like to get your hands on him again?
Who wouldn't? But if I know General T, he's surrounded by a regiment.
My people think several.
That brings us up to the plan, Colonel.
He's somewhere in the Hang Phao Valley.
Surrounded by the regiment you mentioned, which makes a capture impossible.
Precisely. Except for one woman and a certain hand-picked team.
Go on, Colonel.
This is the rat. And this is the trap.
My father was a simple man. All he wanted